Now, Thailand's acting Prime Minister is calling for bilateral talks to resolve a border dispute that's boiled into armed conflict with Cambodia. At least 33 people have been killed and nearly 170,000 displaced since fighting erupted earlier this week.
Well, joining us now is Melissa Conley-Tyler, Honorary Fellow at the Asia Institute from the University of Melbourne. Melissa, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. This is a centuries-old border dispute. It flares up every now and then, and it's now spilled into armed conflict. Why now? Why has it spilled into armed conflict?
Well, look, as so often happens in these situations, it seems to have been essentially an accident, a situation that went out of control. So there was a skirmish on the border and it ended up with a Cambodian soldier dead. And that then pushes countries into escalating. It becomes a matter of internal politics and something that's very hard to walk back for. So in a situation like this, what you're really looking for is people who help with an off-ramp. And we know that the UN has offered, that ASEAN chair Malaysia has offered. But interestingly, overnight, it looks like it might be pressure from President Trump that really pushes the party to the negotiating table. Cambodia was very badly hit by Trump's tariffs. And so there's a big incentive. If Trump is taking on this mantle as peacemaker, which we know is how he thinks about himself, he might actually be able to force the parties to the negotiating table.
Now, yes, of course, the threat of tariffs would push anyone to negotiating tables, of course. It is, of course, the first armed conflict between two ASEAN member states. If it drags on, do you see other nations or member nations taking part?
I don't think they will take part or take sides. I think they will put pressure on as much as they can collectively to try to bring this back to a simmer rather than a boil. From ASEAN's perspective, this is its great achievement, that it has stopped interstate warfare between countries in the ASEAN bloc. And they don't want that to disappear. And Malaysia has already made clear as chair that they will push. I have seen this before, I suppose. I remember being at a dialogue with ASEAN where there was fighting on the border between Thailand and Cambodia. And at that point, they were able to compartmentalise it very well, to say, well, we'll keep doing everything else. We'll keep trading with each other. We'll keep talking diplomatically. We'll just say this border issue is on the side. And I think that's what we're hoping for, in a way, just taking the heat out of it. It's not going to disappear, but trying to bring it back to that sort of level.
Now, Cambodia has accused Thai forces of resorting to cluster munitions. Neither government is party to the convention that bans the use of this particular weapon. What will be the implications of using this weapon?
Well, as you say, it's not illegal for them to use it, but I think it's extremely unfortunate that they are doing so if those are verified. I would just say what you want to do is find other conflict resolution mechanisms. And in this case, like all cases, there are other options. You know, you can have bilateral talks, you can have mediations, you can have arbitrations, you can even send it to adjudication. When I was a law student, I read about the Preah Vihear temple, and that's one area of the border that was actually looked at by the International Court of Justice. So there are many options, but you have to choose to take them. And that's where I think the external pressure can be helpful.